Okay, let me remove that banner and restart my entire show. We have breaking news. I swear they knew exactly what time I was coming on the air. They said, no BS with Bruce Snyder starts at 7. 5 minutes before 7, we're going to have breaking news. Of course, I'm joking, right? All right, let's go to Fox News. Let's see what we can get. Oh, maybe not. Let me see if I can get a feed. All right, stand by.
Right within the 5-year statute of limitations on these particular statements made in this testimony. James, let's start with you.
Live Fox
You've been
feed.
involved
Breaking
in a lot
news.
of these cases.
James
What do you
Comey has
see
been
so
indicted.
far?
Well, Laura, I've never been involved in the indictment and potential arrest of an FBI director or former FBI director. So this is new to a lot of people in the FBI. And it was no surprise to me either. I knew there was a 5-year statute about to expire in a week or so. So no doubt here it comes. This guy played loosey-goosey, it seems, most of his career as an FBI director, but certainly starting at around the time of the 2016 campaign with the whole declination of Hillary Clinton's actions with her computer, and the way he just addressed the public and others, you could tell there was this manipulation going on his part. He really knows how to work the media, as someone said earlier, and knows what to do and get people for him. But we're going to have people like McCabe and Strzok, whether they're going to be subpoenaed and they're going to be brought before a jury, and they have to testify.
Everybody bear with me.
Some kind of
this
immunity.
is just breaking
we'll
in real time.
Because they don't want to get perjury charges either, and that will be going 5 years from now.
Well, here's a moment where Comey may have gotten himself into real hot water. Watch.
Chairman Grassley asked you point blank, quote, have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation?
Let's have a little fun. I've got to look, and you guys are going to do it with me live right now. You're going to help me. You're going to see what I do every day. All right, so we're going to go to CNN. Let's go to CNN.
And the prosecutors in the office had objected to it, in part because they say they didn't have any evidence for it. And that's the reason why he fired Eric Siebert. He later said that it was because Siebert had the support of 2 Democrats, but that really is not part of the reason. We do know that over the weekend he had appointed another the White House had appointed another prosecutor, Maggie Cleary, to take over the office. And then the president announced that he was sending his former personal attorney, Lindsay Halligan, to take over. She was sworn in on Monday and has been getting briefed. We know that over the last couple of days, Aaron, Lindsay Halligan has been at the Justice Department. We've known that she's met with the Attorney General.
I'm not going to kill you with that. Let me go back to, I just want to see, this is the first time I've ever done this on my podcast where I subject you, but this is a good subjection here because of the breaking news. I want to hear them crying. Let's go to MSNBC.
Or Donald Trump, because he refused to go forward with this. We have then the just extraordinary social media post directing Attorney General Pam Bondi to move forward against Mr. Comey, as well as others, I'll note, Letitia James and Adam Schiff. And then you've got him inserting his own personal attorney with no prosecutorial experience into that office, just sworn in on Monday. And I had been wondering who would be willing to take that case into the grand jury, because if the prosecutors who wrote the memo to...
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt that. Let me go back to Fox, and then let me talk over this, and we'll keep an eye on Fox. I just want to hear their talking points. This is happening in real time, folks. I literally hit the, a couple minutes to go live. And as soon as I did that, I had to, I heard my phone blowing up. So I have a show prepared for you tonight. Hang on. Bear with me. Let's see. I want 38. All right.
Too, regardless of how this all turns out, the director of the FBI helped spearhead one of the most damaging episodes of American criminal justice that we have ever seen. Injustice, I should say. taking it upon himself to try to unseat a sitting president of the United States with these
You guys listen to Fox for a minute.
BS cases.
I got to go on all my social media. Give me a minute. We're going to have a great show. I have it prepared before this news.
And ultimately hobble
Let me
this
post
president.
on my social media the breaking news. So hang with me a minute.
There were a lot of people involved, but he was at the top of the food chain here. Barack Obama was the other, but he was at the top of the food chain here. And I think justice must be done. Lest no one have faith in the FBI going forward. If nothing comes of everything that we know happened, then what are we?
Well, I'm retired FBI, and I certainly agree with that. I would be very much bothered if this wasn't taken to its logical conclusion. I'm going to go back to 2017, the Women's March in January of that year, right after Trump was inaugurated, or right around that time. I'll never forget Mrs. Comey and two of her daughters were interviewed by chance by CNN, directly identifying themselves who they were. Now, they have every right to do that, First Amendment, all that. But you really think the wife and daughters of the FBI would stay away from making controversial statements about the upcoming Trump administration? But we knew that was just one adjacent part of what their husband/father was doing. It was also crossfire hurricane going on inside the FBI, and we all know where that went, winding up with him possibly committing perjury in front of Congress.
Now, this was a long, winding setup of a duly elected president of the United States, and it was a travesty. And
I'll be right with you.
This must be done. Panel, thank you very much. I want to bring in Brett Tolman, former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Utah. Brett, we're just getting all these details now, and frankly, they're scant. We expect this indictment to be released at any moment. Your thoughts on where this case might go? And again, we know the backstory here, that the Democrats are going to claim, oh, well, it's just an indictment. They were never saying that when they indicted Trump, right? But now they're out saying, oh, it's just an indictment. It doesn't mean anything. Well, of course, you're presumed innocent. But nevertheless, former FBI director, looks like he was expecting this indictment in some of his comments recently. Your reaction tonight?
Well, as the Democrats told us, right? A grand jury decided this, and we should honor the grand jury's role, and we should give confidence.
I'm with you guys. I'll be with you momentarily if you're just joining me.
You're going to hear them cry,
just,
and they're going to lament that
listen
it's
to Fox
lawfare.
for a moment.
But
I'm trying to.
Of Jim Comey.
I just got on the air, and
Jim
I'm trying
Comey.
to
I
update
was an
everything.
assistant U.S. attorney when he was the deputy director deputy director of the Department of Justice. And he wielded much power. He was a very different lawyer, a very different member of the Department of Justice back then. And I saw a progression that came as a result of his attention, his media, attention, his power and influence that he started to yield. We saw him lying, Laura, about whether there were abuses of the FISA Patriot Act, Rule 702. He was willing to lie about that. He's been telling lies, and he's been doing it continually because he has not been held accountable. He didn't have a DOJ that was willing to prosecute him or even legitimately investigate him for what he was doing. We know the history, but I will tell you this. These statutes are there for a reason, to especially give confidence that someone that's hauled in front of Congress is not lying under oath, and someone is not interfering with the accountability and the transparency that we expect from our government.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep that Fox feed on. Are you guys with me? You hearing me okay? I would assume so. You probably would have said something. So I had an entire show prepared. It's still good to go, but it's I'm not going to be able to touch on every single thing, but there are things I want to touch on, and they really now that he's been indicted, they really go well with the show I had prepared for you tonight. I will take you to I will show you some things regarding some comms, etc. How the week started, talking about all the way from I'll touch on, if I can, touch on Trump and Russia. This all goes together. Dan Scavino's video of Nessun Dorma on Tuesday night, I do believe it was Tuesday night. I posted about that. I pretty much said it would be probably this week. It would be more of a indictment or even an FBI raid, someone getting arrested. I did say that tonight's podcast, the next broadcast after tonight's podcast, would be a breaking news podcast. Well, I was wrong. It came quicker than I anticipated, 5 minutes before I got on the air. So this is that breaking news podcast, and many more to come. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So I'm going to move that. So let me do this. I'm going to remove that. Okay. So let's go to some things here, and I'm going to do my best, which I should do okay, to bring you the latest. Okay. Image. Okay. All right. Let's go to Pam Bondi. Just posted. No one is so a little 6:45, so about 15 minutes prior. No one is above the law. Today's indictment reflects this Department of Justice's commitment to holding those who abuse positions of power accountable for misleading the American people. We will follow the facts in this case. Adding another one. Let's see here. It'll be this one. Let's go to Kash Patel. And looks like today your FBI took another step in its promise of full accountability. For far too long, previous corrupt leadership and their enablers weaponized federal law enforcement, damaging once proud institutions and severely eroding public trust. Every day we continue the fight to earn that trust back, and under my leadership, this FBI will confront the problem head on. Nowhere was this man, I'm having a Biden moment. Politicization of law enforcement more blatant than during the Russiagate hoax, a disgraceful chapter in history. We continue to investigate and expose everyone, especially those in positions of power, will be held to account, no matter their perch. No one is above the law. So you're seeing them saying no one is above the law. What they're doing, all right, obviously, all right, is there, I don't even know what word you want to call it. They're giving back the deep state, the Democratic side, what they've been saying. No one is above the law for years, talking about Donald Trump. All right. So, as I stated earlier in the day, this was a much anticipated indictment coming. I posted about the major, I was following more than usual the mainstream media networks today, because when I reported on Monday, let me give you an example, and I will help you out here. I reported this past Monday. It's Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. On Monday morning, when I got going in the workday, I reported to you that MSNBC is reporting that James Comey, with their sources, are telling him he would be indicted within the week. Let me explain something. I had people laugh at that post because they were laughing because I was using an MSNBC source. The reason I was using that source, that was the one time that I knew it was credible from MSNBC. Because if MSNBC was reporting something like that, it wasn't a lie. Okay. I had a feeling if they were reporting it. So I went to look to see who else was reporting it, and it started to trickle onto mainstream media. It trickled onto the New York Times, all those publications. I'm like, okay, this is real. And all through the week, especially today, it's been wall-to-wall coverage. So I knew this was coming. I put out that post about that, and I'm not tapping myself on the back. I'm not trying to do that. When I say that, folks, especially if you're new, maybe it's just me telling you that when I speak like that, is I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't need to brag. Okay. I'm not like that type of person. I just want you to feel comfortable where you're at and where you're getting information. Okay. So that's where we're at right now. Let me go back to, let me keep an eye on Ingram, Laura Ingram. So I would assume right now, as I'm looking at Laura Ingram on Fox, they're just having people on talking right now. So I'm going to kind of keep an eye on that. Let me bring this back up, as a matter of fact. All right. Do that. And I'll remove that. And I'm going to just bring her on the screen. Let's, okay. Yeah, I'll go back to that. Okay, so I'm going to keep that right there with the audio down, okay? So I have some things to show you, folks. I am ready for this show tonight. This was prepared more off the cuff. I know I do a lot of stuff off the cuff because I enjoy it that way. I work better that way. And I like doing things right off the top, fresh. All right. Let me check right now, and let me go to. I doubt it. Before I even look, I'm gonna go on Trump's page now. So Trump has posted 26 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago. So within the hour, 26 and just 7 minutes ago, and he's talking about 50. He's imposing a 50% tariff on kitchen tables, kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, etc. Okay, so what that tells me right now, all right, he's not touching it. I'm sure at some point tonight he's going to say something, but it just broke. It's fresh. It's happening in real time. All right. So if I had a guess, you guys keep an eye on that for me too. Let me know in the comments if something breaks. If there's anything else of significance you need me to look at, let me know in the comments. I'm not bringing your comments on the screen at the moment because of the major breaking news going down right now. I want to gather some more information. I will do that with you. What I had lined up for you this evening, and I got my notes already prepared. So I'm going to go down the line here. So here's how my show is getting ready to start. But, ooh, excuse me. But it all changed due to the breaking news. So I was going to come on the air tonight, and I was going to call this Comey Indictment Looming, kind of in the air tonight. That was the title of tonight's show. I was going to open up tonight about what I already spoke on going back to Monday, and MSNBC reports on the Comey news, how significant that was, okay? And then I was going to flow into Tuesday about Trump doing a 180 on Russia. That is significant news as well. Now, I'm breezing through this right now, okay? And then on, we're going to go over it, all right? Oh, I got to get that off the screen. Hold on. I can't have commercials on the screen. Then I was going to go through the Tuesday with the Trump and Russia early in the day. When Trump talked about the whole Russia thing, I spoke about the sum of all fears right after that afternoon Trump post about Russia. Okay. And then later that night at 9:58 p.m. to be precise. Okay. This is the, I can share this. I'll do this. This was from Dan Scavino on Tuesday night. That was Nessun Dorma. All right, so I'm going to mute that right now. I don't know if the Facebook gods will pick up on that, but that's Christopher. I think that's, I don't know if that was Christopher Macchi or Pavarotti. Geez, I don't know. So anyways, what you're seeing there, the night prior, there was a still shot that Dan Scavino posted the same thing of the helicopter Marine One landing in the dark. This one is also in the dark as well. It also tells me that there's more coming. This is just the beginning. I have spoken about it a number of times that when the first arrest does come, there will be more to follow. I don't think it's going to be dragged out. Okay. So Scavino posted this at 9:58 p.m. on Tuesday night. All right. Then we flow into Wednesday, yesterday, and we get another shooting. All right. Without me going into that, we go into today. I'm going very fast with this. The whole show today was about this, but I'm just going to breeze through these points. But there's something I'm going to pick apart and show you. All right. And we're literally going to go to Charlie Kirk's memorial. Today, Trump signs the death penalty. And for Washington, D.C., Pam Bondi comes on and she talks about this. She wants to implement this in every U.S. Major city, of course. Antifa designated as a terrorist organization earlier in the week. And then today, going after an executive order is signed for Trump to go after the networks, to give all power to go after networks. And he mentions names, George Soros in particular, Reid Hoffman, people like that. And I've always said, I know a lot of people say George Soros because that's the name people know because of the internet and everything. But I've always stressed there are going to be so many other people who you don't even know by name or face or what they do, but they're going to be some high power rollers who have their hands dirty and are also puppet masters when it comes to funding these type of organizations. I did talk about Antifa not being an ideology, being an organization. People will argue with me all day, up and down. Okay. I get that. I understand that. They'll say, oh, where's their headquarters, and all this other stuff. If you really want to dig deep, it is a psychological manipulation, the word Antifa. All right. They are anything but anti-fascist. They're 100% fascist. Don't be fooled by that. It's the same thing with right now. When the Penguin comes out, all right, Jerry Nadler comes out and few years ago, and he gets caught on video saying they're just an idea. I mean, it's ridiculous and it's insulting at this point. Okay. So they're not just an idea. They are an organization. If you do a deep dive on it, you can find plenty of information and research, especially throughout Europe. All right. Seeing Antifa training in camps, just like military camps, being groomed, being prepared, sent here in the US. And here's the other one too. The Antifa members that you see out there, like you see out in Portland and stuff, running around. All right. There are real Antifa who've been trained at the top, I'm sure. But a lot of these kids, if you will, whatever you want to call them, decided, I want to join Antifa and be part of it. So it's a cool thing. Yeah. Power to the people, fight back. And a lot of them probably weren't trained under Antifa, maybe trained somewhat local. If you go back over the videos over the years and just watch the riots, don't pay attention to the people who are the followers who want to riot. Pay attention to people on the very front lines leading those people who are the followers. They are very organized. They are well funded. They have military movements. They know exactly what they are doing. So you can argue with me all day about it being an ideology. I call bullshit on that one. All right. Let's see here. We're going to go into, let me look back here real quick. It looks like Laura Ingraham they don't have, so the news is just breaking. I'm seeing Laura Ingraham interviewing JD Vance. It looks like, let me do a refresh on Truth Social again. Okay. Donald Trump has just posted 25 seconds ago. I have it for you here. Stand by. And Donald Trump just posted. All right. And I'm going to grab that for you. Bring it on your screen. And here we go. Okay. So right there, Donald Trump just posted, "Justice in America. One of the worst human beings this country has ever been exposed to is James Comey, the former corrupt head of the FBI. Today, he was indicted by a grand jury on 2 felony counts for various illegal and unlawful acts. He has been so bad for our country for so long and is now at the beginning of being held responsible for his crimes against our nation. Make America great again." Now look at that towards the end there, where Donald Trump in the last sentence says he has been so bad for our country for so long and is now at the beginning of being held responsible for his crimes. So this is the beginning, folks. Just like I said shortly ago, there probably will be more to come. This is definitely the beginning. You're seeing it right there from Donald Trump. All right. Educated guess here. And also based on research and things like that, this will be the one that plays out tonight. I don't know who's coming next. Now, I would love to see John Brennan indicted. They may go after the walrus himself, or, of course, Letitia James has nothing to do with Russia. But these are the players in Russiagate. Okay. This is the big deal. All right. We're talking election interference, the whole nine, everything. I mean, this is all completely connected, everything. This is why I put out a post earlier today. Oh, I didn't put that one out. I started one, I didn't put it out. But what I was trying to say was I will not be wasting my time or your time, all right, diving into baseless, maybe I did post it, baseless conspiracy theories. I think you know what I'm talking about, what the hot topic is right now out there, okay? And you know what that hot topic is because it's all over the internet. And personally, my personal opinion, and no disrespect to you, because I'm going to get all kinds of messages. We're supposed to search for the truth and think, and I think you're wasting your time. You're being distracted in a big way. This is the news. This has been the news. The news has been about following Russia, Ukraine, what Donald Trump says, following things like what Dan Scavino posts, knowing that this Comey indictment's coming down. This is bigger than 2 felony counts. This is Russia, Russia, Russia. We're going to go all the way back to Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, you name it. Everything is coming full circle. This is it. Okay. So I said earlier today, buckle up, deplorables. This is good. You know, whatever I said, something like that. This is just getting started. And here we are tonight. All right. Now, here's another big thing. All right. I'm going to walk you through red 1, red 2, red 3. Okay. Because when I'm talking about Antifa here and do you think it's a coincidence? Okay. Do you really think it's a coincidence? Let me do this. That Antifa is, let me go back to Laura. Hold on. All right. No, it looks like they're not touching on that. So they're doing other stories. So it's fresh. The news just came down the pipeline. That's all we've got right now. Are we going to get a perp walk of James Comey? I don't know. I think Kash Patel and Pam Bondi knows that would be great for America to see. I have no idea what kind of arrangements, if there are arrangements that the Department of Justice made with Comey, whether to comply and just come in and get arrested and booked, if you will. I don't know. So none of us know. But at this point, I would probably say if they release the information publicly, like they just did tonight, they probably already had that done, or they were already at Comey's house, or he was already coming in. All right. They're not going to put it out there. You're indicted, and he's going to be sitting in his living room and nobody knocking on his door. I mean, I wouldn't understand that if that was the case. So, again, here we are. I want to take a look. If you can hold it for a minute. What I'd like to do, I'd like to put this on my social media pages. If you could bear with me, I'm going to go over everything else I have prepared, and I think you'll find it quite interesting, to say the least. Okay, let me just put these on my pages. It's as good to have the president's post up there. I did not know this was going to happen this evening, but I love working under pressure and doing things like this. I always have. Okay, just bear with me. I'm just putting it on my Telegram and my Facebook and my X account. Okay. I'm not saying anything because I'm live on the air, but I'm just posting the screenshot. Okay, so there's that. Again, let me look at Laura Ingraham. It looks like she's interviewing Vice President J.D. Vance. So probably something that was pre-planned. Laura's show was pre-planned before all this tonight. I guarantee you, I'm not going to go look, but I can almost guarantee you CNN, MSNBC, and those networks are probably doing a complete wall-to-wall coverage of the breaking news. Okay. And if you want to go look. I'm going to say that I'm probably 199% certain that's what they're doing right now. And they're going to bring on all their talking heads right now. And they're going to talk about certain things. And they're going to say things like, just like earlier, CNN, I saw people in my comments saying, well, now CNN saying it might not happen. The indictment might not stick. I laughed. I didn't respond back in the comments because I'm like, stop listening to those networks. Okay. Their job is to discourage you, to demoralize you, to mislead you. You don't need me to tell you that whatsoever. All right. Whatsoever. All right. All right. So someone's saying, so I go to your comments. You know, I'll bring them on the screen right now. We'll do that in real time. So someone just said in the comments, yep, CNN right now. So I'm sure they are. They're probably on there yapping away. And they're going to bring in all their experts who parked their little Ford Escort behind the building next to a dumpster to come in and live on the air and give their expert opinion. And there you go. Look at it. This is live in my comments right now. They are blaming the Trump administration. Of course they are. I don't even have to look at it. And I could probably almost repeat exactly what they're talking about. So here we are. If you're just joining us, breaking news, James Comey has been indicted, former FBI director. And this is the big one. Okay. This goes back all the way to the beginning of the day Donald Trump walked into the door. Speaking of, right now, I need to find out what one particular person has to say. And let me bring that person up. I haven't looked. I'm going to look with you right now. And let me go to his page and I'll bring it on your screen. That's if he posted yet. Okay. I think he's live on the air. Or okay. He's posting. He's just underway posting now. And who I'm talking about is General Flynn. General Flynn. So I'll come back to him later. I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say. General Michael Flynn, because these are the guys who went after Flynn and threw him in jail. So, and Comey is that guy. And Comey is one of the worst of the worst. Okay. All right. Are they? I bet CNN is having a meltdown. I told you guys earlier when I posted. Again, if you're just joining, when I speak like that, when I say I told you so, it is not ego, that is competence. And why I say that, because I don't want anybody to turn me out like I'm some egotistical maniac. I am not. I'm saying it this way confidently to let you know, especially if you're new, I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm talking about. And most of this is based on research and my spiritual walk and my discernment. It's been dead on for a number of years right now, even though it is taking us a long time to get here. And I realize, and this is some of my talking points tonight, okay, people losing hope, giving up. Just like when I posted Red October, I've had people say, I hear that every October. I posted that in capital letters because I see it happening, okay? I see what's connected. And if we do it right now, okay, I'll bring this up on your screen. I'll bring this up, and I'll walk you through Red 1, Red 2, and everything else. This is yesterday's, all right? And you probably saw at the beginning of the show. And this is how it's supposed to start the show, but the breaking news took precedent. And that right there, okay, that right there is dated from yesterday, September 24th, in the Q drops as a Delta. All right, that particular picture. And it also says Red October. It was a perfect match yesterday. The Q drops are matching, because year after year we can match, but nothing like this. Nothing. This is the first time we have finally an indictment. All right. And we're having a number of things going on. That's why I say putting the puzzle pieces together. You cannot just look in one place to understand what is going on. There are several moving components that connect. Antifa being designated as a terrorist organization and now going after the networks connects. Why does that matter? Simple as this. Now that they're a terrorist organization, we can treat them just like any other terrorist organization, like narco terrorist, etc. Why the timing? You're telling me that President Trump does this now by coincidence? No, they wanted to do this prior to the first indictment. They needed to sign that executive order to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, because now they can really be manhandled by our military if need be. And secondly, to go after the networks. That just happened a little while ago, a couple hours ago. And then boom, the next major thing, the first indictment. The reason for that is to quell down on violence in the streets, civil unrest. If they want to take their thugs now, Antifa, black, whatever you want to call them, and put them on the streets to start going crazy and giving orders. Portland, Oregon, keep an eye out on things. I bet they're ready for them out there because that is the hub center in the United States for Antifa. But now, since those executive orders have been signed, okay, President Trump has a lot more power now to make sure this is shut down. Some other particular conspiracy theory entity, if you will, told us that same thing, and that happens to be called Q. They told us about when the time came, the civil unrest, it would be shut down. Your families are safe. We promise, the whole nine. These are all the moving pieces that had to be put in place. It has taken years to get to this moment. 4 years of Donald Trump in his first term to expose the swamp, bring all the demons out, okay, to show their poker hand. The next 4 years, we had to allow a stolen election. We had to endure 4 years of madness because you can't tell the people the truth. You have to show them. We win the election overwhelmingly. Donald Trump's second term in, as of January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump and his team have been non-stop every day like they're up against a clock. This is why I have been adamant and I opposed anybody talking about getting rid of Kash Patel at the FBI, get rid of Pam Bondi. I said, are you insane? What is wrong with people out here losing their patience like that? It's one, do you want to keep, it's like having a baseball team. And by the way, the Cleveland Indians, I'm from Cleveland. We are on fire right now. Had to throw that in there. Detroit, rest in peace. I probably put my foot in my mouth because they're playing right now. Watch Detroit beat us. But it's like a baseball team. It's like the Cleveland Browns. Okay, I'm a Clevelander. If you keep rebuilding every single year, changing quarterbacks and all these players, there's no consistency. And you're not putting any hope and any faith into these people. You build the team. You build it from scratch. You stick with that team. You do not waver. Donald Trump, President Trump, has stuck by the sides of Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, and I can go down the line. He has brought them on national TV several times, including today, to stand behind him in the Oval Office behind the desk. And he does that on purpose to let the entire world know these are the people I chose, and I stand with them. And we voted for this man. If we voted for this man, then we have to trust him. All the bullshit going on the internet, okay? And if your name happens to be, your last name's Loomer, and you think you're all God's gift to whoever because you think you're in charge and you got President Trump's back and you're going to weed out what she's doing over there is grotesque. And her by saying all these people are bad and she's the only one that could weed everybody out. That broad is batshit crazy. Excuse my language. Okay. This is the stuff I'm talking about. How dare we waver? We have to trust the plan. And that plan is President Trump's choices. Okay. All this craziness throughout the entire internet and the backstabbing. There is a Republican side of MAGA that is just as bad as the left when it comes to this. And I'm not sugarcoating anything. This is just the way it is. Okay. And if I offended you or hurt your feelings, oh, well, I don't know what else to say. We can agree to disagree, move forward, and not unfriend each other. Okay. But other than that, it's quite simple. Trust Donald Trump. Trust the plan. It's just getting started. There is a strategy with this. And if you thought it was going to take just a few years or a year to do, and you thought all the draining of the swamp was going to happen in the very beginning in his first term, that's crazy talk. Okay. That's kooky talk because look at all the years it's taken them to infiltrate every institution in this country. Okay. Every institution. It's taking time. This is why since January 20th, they've been fighting and screaming, and their only ammunition is to come on television and call Donald, and it's going to get worse, is to call Donald Trump Hitler and a dictator. And by calling him these names, what happens? They are arming. They are weaponizing the consciousness, the mind of all these crazy lunatics out there. And it goes deeper than that, I'm sure. And then you have people pick up a gun and take out a Charlie Kirk. They pick up a gun and they start taking pop shots at ICE, okay? Even though they didn't hit ICE yesterday, thank God. Nobody, I'm not saying anybody should have been hit. This is what's going on. Do not be surprised if it happens again. Do not be surprised because of this news. All right? It happens again. But this is why all these things had to be put in place. Let me take another look here. So right now on Laura Ingraham, they're talking about with, it looks like Anna Paulina Luna's on there, and it's got out of control. Trump warns Dems to calm rhetoric after ICE shooting, okay? I have news for you. The rhetoric is not going to calm. We have crossed a red line, whatever that line may be. There is no turning back right now, okay? These folks are weaponized. The mainstream media is to blame. The mainstream media has blood on their hands. No question about it. This is why there's been controversy this week when they took Jimmy Kimmel off the air and then they bring him back. Of course, it was only ABC Disney who brought him back. Nexstar and Sinclair still is preempting Jimmy Kimmel, okay? So what I'll say is this. I got distracted. I saw something I got distracted there for a minute in the comment section. So again, let me reset here. There's a lot going on the internet. I go back to what I was talking about. People who think they're God's gift to whatever, and like they're the savior for Donald Trump and his administration. Makes me it's vile. It makes me want to puke. Okay. Yeah. Somebody keep an eye on the score of the Cleveland Guardians Detroit game. That's a real big deal in my life right now because history is being made. I just having fun. So there's a lot going on. So here's what I'd like to do. Let me take another gander real quick at the internet for you. All right. And take a look at things to see if there's anything I can gather. Then I want to break down what I've had prepared for the show. Because again, if you're just joining, James Comey has just been indicted. So I want to see things are moving fast. I want to keep up with this. Bear with me. And I'm going to bring up some Q drops, which is pretty amazing. Okay. Okay. So there's the indictment. Count one is false statements. And I'm reading it right now. So let me bring this on your screen for you. Desktop. Let me see if I can get these on your screen. Okay, let me read this one because this one's kind of blurry and I don't know if it's going to look good on your screen. On or about what's today's date? Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. So on or about September 30th, 2020. So we're just 5 days away from the statute of limitations lapsing. Okay. In 2020, in the Eastern District of Virginia, the defendant James Comey did willfully and knowingly make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government of the United States by falsely stating to a U.S. senator during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, if I remember correctly, I think it was Jim Jordan, that James Comey had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation. Number two, that statement was false because, as James Comey then and there knew, he in fact had authorized person 3 to serve as an anonymous source in news reports. Okay, so that's what they got him on. And I'll say this again. Let me bring it on your screen. Let me tell you something about these folks. All right. So Indians losing 4-1. Oh my gosh. That's okay. We're basically a game ahead, but we're technically 2 ahead because we have the tiebreaker. Here I'm talking sports. But there's a screenshot there that just came across the wire. Okay, for James Comey's indictment. All right. These folks, let me say something. All right. I've been very transparent about my past. I have no problem being transparent about my past, the darkness I've come from, and the darkness I overcame with God's grace. I've told you that I've been on the inside before when it comes to being locked up because of my choices of alcohol and addiction. And I've learned some very valuable lessons and life experiences. And being on the inside at one particular time, I've seen badass people. I've seen hardened criminals, and I know what that's about. Okay. When it comes to these politicians, like a James Comey, these people are cowards. They are absolute cowards. They will never, ever be able to do time. All right. And they're going to sing like a bird. And now this is just the beginning. Just because there's only 2 and it starts with lying to Congress, that is the way to get the ball rolling. All right. So I'm sure they have a lot more planned and other charges possibly. They're going to nail him. All right. And who knows what else is coming. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. I know that, but I can only imagine in my mindset here, Comey kind of singing like a bird, if you will. This guy is a coward. I don't care what lawyers the deep state has for him. Okay. Everything has been pretty much planned from day one. We had to wait a long time to get to this point because we had to do a lot of cleaning house. All right. So, and here we are. And for Donald Trump to come out the other day and put out that post about Pam Bondi, he wasn't throwing her under the bus at all. I said that right from the beginning. And I pretty much knew it was like, okay, that was the signal. If anything, that he wasn't talking to Pam Bondi. He was talking to us, directly to us on that post when he demanded arrest and it's time and everything else, because it was that is the night that I knew that, okay, be ready for breaking news in the coming days. And not only be ready for breaking news like this podcast broadcast tonight, be ready for several more to follow. Okay. So that's where we're at right now. Now, let me bring up on your screen some more. Let me show you some drops from today. All right. I've had this prepared too, and this is pretty wild. This is today. Yes, this is today. Look at that. Dated 5 years ago. Okay. And Comey he was coming up on the 30th, 5 years for the statute of limitations. Judgment is coming. This is today. All right. Now that judgment is come, follow me, folks. Now that judgment has come, guess what? Everybody else at home who know that their ass is in a sling and they're probably looking over their shoulder now, wondering if they're going to come for them next. Because if the Trump administration finally pulled the trigger and indicted somebody big, and it's going back to the beginning. This is Comey from the beginning of it all. Okay. They finally indict somebody, right? So they're going to be kind of scared. I'm telling you, folks, these people are cowards. What other Q drop is dated today for September 25th? Well, let's take a look. How about, let's see what this one says. Oh my, look at that. September 25th, today as well. Some will take the easy path and exit early. Come on, folks. You're telling me today that judgment is coming, and then this one on your screen, because that Q drop right on your screen is the hottest Q drop right now, this minute, in the here and now, at this moment in real time, because there are people, certain people on the other side, they know their asses in a sling. And they're wondering if they're next, because Donald Trump just showed that he has the cojones to go through with this. And we've been waiting for the beginning of this for a very, very long time. And here we are. Oh, and then one other thing. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but how did we start the day today? We started the day like this. Let me bring it on your screen. Oops. This is a post from President Trump this morning.
What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up all the way, going up to 2020 in the election, they tried to rig the election and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know.
Okay, so I'm going to pause that right there. It's 7.5 minutes long. I'm not going to play it. All right. But he posted that this morning. Folks, this is not a coincidence. They know exactly what they're doing. When Donald Trump comes on your TV and says these words, he says, I'm not involved. I don't know what they're going to do when it comes to the Department of Justice. I'm going to stay out of it. He is lying to you, and it's a good lie. All right. That's code for me that says he knows exactly what's coming. He is involved, and he should be involved. Okay. He's just doing that to try and probably cut down on the rhetoric that's probably already going on your TV screen when it comes to CNN and all those other outlets. All right. But look what it says. Treason. Trump stuns reporters after declaring Barack Obama will face justice. And this wasn't today, but the post was today. He decided to post this clip, which was already done. I don't even remember when the date of that was. I remember seeing that, but he posted this morning. He knows exactly what he is doing. This is why it's so important to follow the entire day of news. Don't get caught in going down a rabbit hole of trying to look, I'm just going to say it. I don't know how else to say it. Get out of the rabbit hole of doing the whole Charlie Kirk thing right now. Okay. I think the Charlie Kirk thing is going to end up like JFK, in my personal opinion. I think it's going to go on for years, and it's going to be like what we talked about for decades, a second shooter. It's already started. It's already started. It's deep, and it's a distraction. Okay. I know. I've seen everything. I know about the Snake Eyes video, the movie. I know about what the Q drops that day. I know all those things. Okay. My point I'm trying to make, I am not going down there. I'm not going to do shows about that because I know what's important right now. You want to continue to do that? Go ahead. You're not going to get it on my page because I know exactly what I should be reporting and what is of importance. And what's of importance right now is everything that you and I have been waiting for. You and I have been waiting a very long time for something like this to get kickstarted, and it got kickstarted tonight. This is why I say you need to focus on certain things. And these certain things this week have all connected. I will bring up Charlie Kirk here, okay, because I did find something at that particular memorial that stood out to me. Now, again, we're talking about, someone just said it in the, okay, what's that say? Saw someone trying to educate you on some of our fears, responded, check my previous posts out. I don't know what that was about. I've done several podcasts on the Sum of All Fears and Nasun Dorma, and they've all connected. And I'll say it right now, and it's still possible. Okay. Nasun Dorma could be bigger than just these indictments tonight because of the Russia talk this week. You have big news coming out of that, out of Russia with Donald Trump. Okay. He did a 180. He did a complete 180. And it's like, in some ways, he just went with you. I have my, and I'll say them on the air, I have my guesses to why, but he did like a full backing of Zelensky in Ukraine, a full backing to say, here, NATO, here's all the weapons, do with them what you will. Okay. Then you have the Russian minister today come out, what was it, Lavrov, and say that, what did he say? That NATO and Ukraine and Europe, the European Union, and NATO are using Ukraine to start the war, something like that. And I posted that particular post on all my sites. And also there is talk right now, ever since 48 hours ago, a little over 48 hours ago, on was it yesterday? Let me look at my notes. I got notes on this. Let's see. Monday, MSNBC. Tuesday. Tuesday, Trump did the 180 on Russia. That was the day I posted about Sum of All Fears moment. I said, have we entered the Sum of All Fears stage? And that particular night, Nason Dorma, which is in the movie, the biggest part of the movie, Mason Dorman plays in The Sum of All Fears. That is a scene near the end, the second last scene of the movie, where the song plays, Nessun Dorma, and the president of Russia and the president of the United States take out the deep state players who put Russia and the United States on a collision course. And that's exactly what we have seen when it comes to James Comey and all the Russiagate players, okay? This is the beginning. They put Russia in some way and the United States on a collision course with all the 4 years of Russia. You know, I am really surprised and amazed at the patience of Vladimir Putin, to be honest with you. Now, here's the one thing that I'm going to tell everybody I'm uncertain about. Okay? What I'm uncertain about, all right, is, thanks for the score update. What I'm uncertain about is the talk coming from Donald Trump and the Post, and I can bring that up too. Let me bring that up there. And this is it right there on your screen. And you can read that yourself. But again, I put that was earlier in the week. This is why I take a backseat approach. And a lot of times people ask me, what's my thoughts? What's my thoughts? I appreciate that. But there's times like, I can't give you my thoughts. I have to see things play out. Maybe for throughout the day, the next day or two throughout the week. I don't know. I need to see more to really give a good opinion on things of what's happening. Now, I've done a lot of shows, like I said, on all this. My past podcast talking about, I stated the scare event would probably be like a Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0 on steroids, coming down to a nuclear scare event. With this kind of talk and what is being said, and now today, NATO's talking about shooting Russian jets out of the sky if they cross over into NATO territory. The talk has turned up. Matter of fact, the language is really hot right now, the hottest I've seen it, because Donald Trump has loosened. He seems like he's loosened up on Ukraine and NATO. And as soon as he did that, I noticed the language change, because NATO's trying to get bold all of a sudden. So this is why it's still a little early for me to really give you my honest opinion, because I don't have it just yet, because again, I got to see a few more things. And so maybe towards, by beginning of next week, I might have a better idea of why we're talking about this right now, because a lot of stuff is connected. Because have we entered the scare event yet? I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest with you. Who knows what's going to happen from this moment? So we just pulled the trigger. That's a terrible analogy to use. We just started the wheels in motion. I apologize for that. The wheels are in motion now. The first indictment's underway, and let's see how this goes and plays out. The things to watch for, besides looking for another indictment, and I should probably look right now. I can do that. Oops, I just opened my editor. I'd love to get a video of James Comey being perp walked. Do I have live on the air? Oh, that would be great. I just thank whoever made this decision tonight to do it just before I went on the air tonight. That was just so perfect timing. Let's see here. Okay. I just want to see this real quick. I want to check. All right. Just making sure I'm not missing out on the real good stuff. So anyways, a lot is connected. Okay. I don't know if when it comes to the scare event, we're going to keep an eye on that. All right. This is going to be a real big part of the Great Awakening. There's very terrible violence going on right now. It's a great concern, no question about it. But I think we're at the point now where Trump has put a lot of things in place. Now, let's talk about those things being in place. And what I mean by that is a lot of people talk about the EBS quite often, the EAS, the Emergency Broadcast System, Emergency Action Alert, alert system, and just sitting by the sidelines waiting on it forever. And I've always said, don't do that to yourself. Don't wait. You'll know. It's going to be the atmosphere, the condition, the way things feel on the surface. You're going to get a kind of a sense like, oh, it's getting so crazy wild right now that you can probably imagine an EBS going off or something. I don't think we're even there, not even close yet. Okay. I think a lot still is needs to happen still. All right. So, but the conditions are right for everything that Cuba's been talking about. The conditions are right. So paying close attention, I'm going to bring this on your screen, paying close attention to, all right, to Donald Trump, to Dan Scavino, and so what other big news broke today? Okay, let's talk about that. So it's important to talk about what happened today. The big news that broke today was that Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, I got it, almost said defense, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has called an emergency meeting of all the world's top generals and admirals. And apparently it's going to take place on Tuesday because they're from all over the world. So they got to get to one place. And apparently it's going to happen at a base in Quantico, Virginia. You have Jennifer Griffin going on there today. And I should probably play that clip once more. Listen to this. And then I'll tell you what I think.
Teleconference call, especially at a time of rising global threats and cost cutting as the government faces a possible shutdown. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell confirmed the meeting, but gave no details other than Secretary Hegseth, quote, will be addressing his senior military leaders early next week. Secretary Hegseth has fired without explanation nearly 22 officers, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General C.Q. Brown, the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Lisa Franchetti, Coast Guard Commandant Admiral Linda Fagan, Air Force Vice Chief of Staff General James Slife. Last month, Secretary Hegseth fired Defense Intelligence Agency Director Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz, Navy Reserve Chief Vice Admiral Nancy LaCour, and Naval Special Warfare Command Head Rear Admiral Milton Sands, the head of the Navy SEALs. Many of those fired, Martha, by the Secretary have been women. The scant details about this meeting's agenda have many fearing a further purge. Martha?
We'll see what happens. Jennifer,
Okay, so first of all, I can't stand Jennifer Griffin. As a matter of fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was a war of words that happened earlier in the year between her and Pete Hegseth, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Pete Hegseth. But anyways, I've been very vocal about Jennifer Griffin and a certain number of people who do appear on Fox, okay? I just don't trust her whatsoever. She has an agenda. And right now in that particular video clip, it's driving her crazy mad because she doesn't have the inside scoop. All right. She's used to having the inside scoop. She doesn't know what's going on. And what you just saw on your screen is a guess. Okay. All she's saying right now is he calling them in to fire them all. Maybe, but I don't think so, in my opinion. All right. I don't think it would be made a spectacle for to call all the top world's generals and admirals in for an emergency meeting with the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, just to say you're fired. Okay. I don't think that's where we're going. So I'm not buying that report that I just played. So, but if you look at everything that's going on, and I know what you're thinking, are we getting ready for something? There are a number of things that we can discuss easily. We could be talking about the heat being turned up between NATO and Russia. That's very possible. It could also be about exactly what's going on right now. The indictment, Pete Hegseth announced that it leaks, or I think it leaked. I don't know how it got out there. It's announced this morning. Now it's on the mainstream media, and then the indictment comes down tonight. Okay. And we label Antifa and their thugs, the deep state thugs, as a terrorist organization and going after their network. Okay. The timing of this and everything, the way it happened, is not an accident and it's not a coincidence. It's designed this way. So what is this big meeting on Tuesday about? We don't know. I don't know if we'll ever technically find out, or they put something out to the public to mislead us. I don't know. But are they getting ready for something here at home? We've discussed a number of times about several indictments. If we've seen them commit the violence that we've seen over these past days, basically, they're capable of anything. So you better believe that they're ready and the military is ready to take to our streets if need be. Okay. Because there are plenty of deep state players out there that are funding these organizations to really start some serious stuff out there. But if you've been following the Q drops for all these years, we were kind of prepared for a time like this. I believe we have entered that time. This is just the beginning. We just opened the door with the first indictment tonight. Now, okay, yes, you're 100% right. Well, you're asking a question, but you're right. Somebody says here that Anita says could be Insurrection Act invoked. Yes, of course. We just talked about it yesterday, several of us. I post clandestine stuff often. It's weird because I swear he's got to be some twin brother of mine with the same mindset. I don't even know who he is. It's so weird because there's times I post and I look at his, it's like we said the same exact thing. It's so weird how in sync we are. But anyways, we talked about it, the Insurrection Act, and I can see that. I can see that happening at this point. I think it's all up to what happens going forward. Okay, so we'll see. They're going to cut the head off the snake. There you go. Yeah, but sure, the Insurrection Act could be invoked, and you got to look at everything else too. We go into Washington D.C. All right, we clean it up. That was the first big one, and now get rid of crime and everything else. And then we're about Chicago, Minneapolis, I think it is. There's already talk about where I'm at in Cleveland. I've seen a report on that on a Fox in the Morning show about last week. My point is they're starting to roll out into these cities. But if you go back and look, and it talks about can the military, specifically the U.S. Marines, work with the National Guard? Now, let's take a look at something here. All right, let's really take a look at something. Let me bring a video on your screen. Last night, I mean, this has all happened in the past, hours, if you will. And then this.
You come on by.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. We appreciate the opportunity.
Well, it's my honor. You're great people. They're all good, aren't they?
Wonderful. Yes.
Okay. And then President Trump had that yesterday. And then he takes, I don't have the still shot loaded, but he took a still shot, just like you see on your screen there, a nice wide one with all of them standing behind them. And to me, it looked quite eerily similar back to the very beginning when everybody stood in that formation with Donald Trump with them, but they weren't military. They were military, and there were some of their wives and stuff. That is the most famous video where the reporter says, "What storm, Mr. President? You'll find out." Because he says, maybe this is the calm before the storm. I see that yesterday. We get Pete Hegseth this morning announcing an emergency meeting of all military from around the world, top brass general admirals. We get the designation of Antifa today. They already did it as a terrorist organization. And of course, going after the networks. Boom, right after that, we get the first indictment. Do you understand what I'm trying to walk you through here? Okay. These parts are all connected. This is how I view my day. Every single day, year after year, when I've been down here, I look at the entire day, what's going on here, what did they say over here when it comes to the war or foreign policy, what did Scavino put out today, what did Trump specifically say, okay, is there a connection here? This is how my mind is every single day, okay? And that's why I always say to you, don't get distracted by going down a rabbit hole that everybody else happens to be going down. Don't follow that crowd. you'll have your opportunity to do that. And I'm not saying don't do it, but just don't get lost in it. Pay attention to the big picture of what's going on. And the big picture is happening right now. Now, if we take anything away from Charlie Kirk and that memorial, I have something for you. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. So I just showed you these two videos, and I just explained that. Let me replace this here. What I want to bring up is another image, and I'm going to bring this one. I want this one, correct? Oh, and by the way, before I bring what I want to bring up, I'll bring this up. This was also part of the Q drops today. This is today. That picture is in today's drops Delta for September 25th. All right. And talking about Obamagate to Watergate. And you had the video I just played for you. Okay. With Donald Trump posting this morning about Obama. It is perfectly connected. There are no coincidences. This is how you do the communications and the Q drops. You have to coordinate all these news stories that way. I know people, I got ripped a new one because people were mad at me because I refused to go down the Q road and do the whole thing Charlie Kirk's death was staged thing. Okay. I knew better to touch that. Everything inside of me said, don't go down that road. Don't touch it. All right. Maybe down the line, if we want to get into that whole JFK thing, because you could spend all day long trying to decipher things and look at angles and connect things and movies. This movie did this, and I saw it all. But the thing is, here's the big question you ask yourself. What are you doing? What difference is it going to make? You're not going to crack any case. Okay, let me just say this. Let's say it was staged. All right, fine. Okay, if it I'm not saying it was. Believe me, I'm not down that road. If it was staged, so what purpose are you serving now by going out there and just posting and posting and posting again, just to be right? Hopefully it comes back one day. Okay. But my point is you don't really want to, I'm not telling you what to do. Again, I don't like telling people what to do. That's just not me. I'm just saying, don't get lost in that. And I got attacked for that, for not doing that. And I just knew better. I'm like, no, don't do it. You're going to get distracted and you're going to put all your energy into that. And it's not going to make a difference because this might be going on for the rest of everyone's life. And it's going to turn into JFK for years and decades to come, where we're going to be talking about, did he really die? Is there a second shooter? And I can see it now. It's like that. The atmosphere on the internet is like that right now. I'm like, this can go on for decades. Okay. I'm not one seeing that Charlie Kirk's going to come out. If it was staged, he's going to come out and take a bow. Okay. Or if it was staged, maybe he had to go into hiding because maybe his life was threatened. That is one particular one I can understand. But I think it's so crazy out there right now that I want no part of it. All right. But with that being said, I do have something to show you. So I'll show you this. Do that. And let's talk about it. Let me bring up an image. And we're going to go to this drop. All right. Okay, drop 4414. All right. June 4th, 2020. A little over 5 years ago. Okay. Red 1 through red 6. All right. POTUS Twitter removal. Already done. We've lived through that already. Central Communications blackout. I've always been the one on the fence about this. I have my thoughts what this could mean. Okay. And I've told you guys several times, one of the biggest stories happened during, believe it or not, during Biden's presidency, which is quite interesting to me, that the all the branches of military gave the keys to Space Force. In other words, what I'm saying is they gave their satellite control, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines gave their satellite control to Space Force. And now one particular branch, being Space Force, controls all of it. And I've said time and time again, we might get to a point where they're going to cut into everything. Our programming, our communications, they'll have full control over it. All right. So I've always considered that as red 2. Okay. Red 3, class movement, Pelosi or Pence. I think that's already happened. We go back to, and there's things I think we don't know yet. So I think this one is going to come to more light. All right. Red 4. Now we're getting into it. Movement of military assets, specifically the 10th Mountain Division, 1st Marine, to central locations under the guise of citizen riot control. What just happened this year? Think California. It's already started. We were moving the military, the Marines, with the National Guard. And when I saw that go down in California, I'm like, I think this is a red 4. This is the beginning of a red 4. You had Donald Trump take care of Antifa over the past few days, including today. So that means they are a terrorist organization. That means our military can do what they want to do. And no mayor, no governor is going to stop it. That's a terrorist organization now. Red 5, National Military Command Center. Okay? National Military Command Center can be technically in charge of something like when it comes to emergency alert system, emergency broadcast system as well. You follow me here? And then red 6, Secretary of Defense, now it's Secretary of War as we know, but Secretary of Defense instruct 1 USS Castle Rock. Red 6, Secretary of Defense instruct. News this morning, Secretary of Defense, which is Secretary of War now, has instructed all generals and admirals, top brass from around the world to meet on Tuesday in Virginia for an emergency meeting. Are you following me? Now let me show you something else. This is Charlie Kirk's memorial. Those are the seating sections at Charlie Kirk's memorial. Red 1. Who does that? Red 2. Let me go. Let me keep going here. Hold on. Let me give you another screenshot. And so forth. And 3, 4, 3, red 3, red 4, red 5. Right there on national television where the entire world was watching on Sunday. Now, I saw that and I'm like, could it be? Could it be a communication? And then Pete Hegseth announces today, again, I put it on your screen. Red 1, red 2, red 3, red 4, red 5, and red 6. Secretary of Defense instruct. And that just happened today. And it's about to happen on Tuesday. Does it now make sense to you? I know there are gaps. I get it because things have to happen. But think about what I just presented to you. This is what I do on this side of the screen. This is how I do it. And now it's like when people ask me, somebody asked me something today, I said, ask me tonight. They asked me, I forgot what the topic was. I know somebody on Telegram said, I know I replied back, said, ask me tonight. The reason I say that is because I need hours to play out. I need to see what's going to happen for the rest of the day before I even give you an answer. This is how you do the Q drops. So for the people who yell at me for not going down the crazy Charlie Kirk stuff, this is why. Because I know where my focus is. And again, I'm not picking on anybody who's going down that road. By all means, go down that road. It's okay. We need to question everything. I get it. but don't get lost in it. Come back up for air and look at what's really happening, because you might just miss the real show. And this right now is the real show in front of you. Red 1, Red 2, Red 3, and Red 6. Could Red 6 be Tuesday? And then guess what else happens now? So Tuesday, guess what Tuesday is? So if this Red 6 Secretary of Defense struck, they have the meeting this Tuesday in Quantico, Virginia, with all the military generals and top generals and admirals from around the world. Okay, so they're already making their way here. This is why it's not till Tuesday. They can't get here in a day, pretty much. You know, things have to be shuffled. So Tuesday's the big one. That is September 30th. What is the next day? You got that right. It is October 1st, the next day. September 30th, the day of the meeting that Pete Hegseth is going to have, where the Secretary of Defense has instructed them all to meet in one place. The cue drop for that day says, Red October, stay tuned and watch Q+. Now, come on. I think I've done my homework. I think I presented you with something to get you excited about. Are you telling me all of this, what I just presented to you, is a coincidence? And to the people who have said, okay, and to, oh, I didn't want to do that one. You know, okay, yeah, we can do it like that. So the people that said, I've heard Red October every October. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going to go to your comments in a minute, but fair enough. But allow me to tell you that the folks, including myself, who have worked tirelessly, exhausted all their efforts, have been banned up and down, who have been silenced, and you all are part of that, whether you follow Q or not. You guys are in the same boat. Yeah, sure, mine's a big one, 90 plus times on Facebook, but all of you have been censored. Okay, so we're no different. We're all in the same boat together. Okay, we're all Americans, we're all patriots, and we've all been censored. But here we are right now, and I'm telling you right now, it's in my bones that this is Red October. Because now I even feel better about saying that tonight. I was going to say that to you tonight prior to knowing that Comey got indicted. Now that he got indicted, that is a marker for me. Now we really have to pay attention for things like markers that Q talks about in the coming days, for sure. It is Thursday night. We still have Friday through the weekend. We don't know what's going to happen, but one thing for sure, you can definitely be assured that I will be here with you every step of the way, as long as God graces me every single day. All right, so what I'd like to do is, let's do this. Okay. I want to do this. I'm going to bring up your chat right now. I'm going to put it on the screen. Okay. I'm going to take a quick look just in case I'm not missing anything. Looks like okay. Yeah, and here's another. I'll bring this one up. Some of the anons out there are going crazy with the Q drops tonight, which rightfully so they should, because this has been a long time coming. So here's one here. I bring this up. I just saw it. I just opened up my other page and put this on your screen. And you have that. Okay. So again, let me do this. So that's dropped 3121. It's a picture of Comey with an X through it. All right. And that was dated back in March 18th of 2019. Okay. So I can get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. Okay. And then let me take another look. I'll see what I got here before we close the show out. Let's see if I have any updates. Okay. I've got updates. Just in on the wire. James Comey will surrender tomorrow morning. I don't know what it's going to be like, how it's going to be done. but you can assure that tomorrow morning is going to be interesting. So just in, James Comey will surrender and turn himself in tomorrow morning. Right now, Jesse Waters reporting James Comey faces, that's right now. That's just with this first stage. Faces 5 years in prison if convicted. He's been convicted on 2 counts. So this is all, you understand, folks, this is very, very early. Now that they have him by the balls, okay, that's just the way it is. You better believe there's going to be a lot of discussion going on behind closed doors. Let's see. And then probably more indictments. All right, so this just in, somebody's reporting that breaking news, James Comey's son-in-law, I don't know anything about him, who prosecuted Jay Sixers, has just resigned his position as U.S. Assistant Attorney after the former FBI director's indictment. So James Comey's son-in-law has resigned his position. I have to look deeper into that. That's all I have. Okay. All right, so that's about it. So what I'd like to do, let's do this, and before we close the show out, let me go to your comments, okay? Let's go on the screen there. Feel free. Now's your chance to ask anything. I am not a prophet. I am not Nostradamus, okay? I do not have all the answers, but I can only do the best to my ability to answer you based on my research over the years, based on the little bit of knowledge I have about how to connect the Q drops, and based on everything that's going on in the atmosphere. Okay. So with that said, again, there's many things I can't answer, and that's not a politician's answer either. So it sounds like one. And it's quite interesting that Donald Trump posts yesterday the wall of fame of presidents, and he puts the auto pen there. He keeps touting the auto pen as in none of that crap is going to stick. All right. So if we go back to Nasun Dorma, played by Dan Scavino the other night, in English translates to none shall sleep. Okay. None shall sleep. He was right. And I think this is the none shall sleep moment as well, because Comey probably hasn't been sleeping, and everybody else who knows they're guilty and their hands are dirty, now they know that Trump is not playing around anymore. And could they be coming for them next? So, yes, I know what those sleepless nights are. I had a world once that was terrible in my life. And, I sleep like a baby these days. For several years, I've slept like a baby because I don't have to worry about anything like that. It's a beautiful place. Okay. I'm not going to answer any sports questions. Appreciate it, though. We'll do that some other time. I don't know what they're going to do. I know they're threatening about shutting down the government. It's quite interesting. Again, that's a particular topic that we need to let see play out as well. All right. They're all nuts over there wanting to shut it down. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. They can hear him breathing just like Shifty Shift. Yeah. Somebody said, I saw something earlier, but I don't see the comment. Something about one of the judges on the case or something. Yeah, his daughter, correct. She could be indicted, and you never know. But of course, that's a good thing because they can hold that over his head, and they could choose not to indict her if he plays ball. And any father who they're going to hold their daughter over, that's what they did to Flynn. Same thing with Flynn. He didn't want his family touched. That's why he caved and gave in. He did it for his family. So they can do the same thing. Yes, things are moving fast and furious. Like I said, folks, earlier today, the writing was on the wall. Buckle up. I said, buckle up, the plurables. I love that being called that name. Great. I love you guys too. I have no idea. How many more days do you think Bill has before Hillary exits him? That's funny. Thanks for the updates of the scores. 10 days of darkness. I don't know. Again, this podcast is fire. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I was prepared before the breaking news. It happened literally minutes before I went live. As a matter of fact, when I hit the live button over here, I walked away and I went upstairs to see it on the big screen. I wanted to see the report. All right. Well, martial law is a touchy situation. Again, going back to the beginning of the show, we're talking about the Insurrection Act. Okay. And it all depends. Does Antifa want to do what they normally want to do? I don't think they do. But if they do, talk about a popcorn moment. What is this? Is that you're trying to say Comey posted a response video on Instagram just now? Let me check my Instagram. Hold on. Are you talking about previously? Comey. Let me check Instagram. Let me go to Comey's page. Now, is this new? Or this is old. No, he did. Hold on a minute. All right, everybody stand by. It looks like James Comey, thank you for that information. He just posted a video to Instagram. So let's go to Instagram. I'll take you there. I haven't seen it. Let me hide your comments for a second. We're going to watch this together. Thank you for that information. Let me bring up Instagram. Okay, so let's give it a look. Here we go. Just posted. And he turned off the comments, I see.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump. But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid, and I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged, you are paying attention, and you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
Okay, so that's it.
My family and I have known for years.
All right, so there's his response. As soon as I get off here, I'm going to update all my social media platforms with all this information. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, he's just playing tough guy right now. Pay attention to their language too. I noticed it too when they brought Hillary Clinton out on was it MSNBC or NBC, whatever it was this week, and I posted all the Hillary clips. I said, well, somebody shoved her out there to start talking all that garbage on purpose. They all knew this was coming, and they all know that more is coming as well. Comey had to be the first, apparently, but again, even though the statute of limitation does lapse on the 30th, and there are 5 days left, today being the 25th, the Q drops match perfectly today. 2 justices coming, and about whatever it said about people, some will take the easy way out. So is that a coincidence? I don't believe in coincidence. So it's quite remarkable. It's quite exciting. And it's fun to be here on this side. And that probably makes a lot of sense now why, and I'm not making light of any of the terrible violence and the tragedies that we have just recently witnessed, but this is why these demons are just furious and going crazy right now and using forms like violence and the rhetoric, which is more violent in my opinion than a bullet, because they know TikTok, the time is up. And it's quite interesting, too, that Donald Trump announces and saved today by signing the document, the order that he saved TikTok today. Is that symbolism for TikTok, TikTok? Because just after that, James Comey is indicted. So I hope I was able to explain to you the best I possibly could. I hope tonight's podcast made sense. Again, I will put more together. I will be on here just because I'm scheduled only for Thursday at 7. Doesn't mean I won't be back on again. I'll come back on. I'll come back on every night if I have to, if it really picks up. But I will be on to keep you informed. All right. I'll post some of these things that I explained this evening as well, so you can have it in the post. But again, I hope I was able to kind of connect a few dots, like I said I wanted to do, to give you some hope. I hope you have it. And to everybody out there who constantly, I'm not going to pick on you, constantly says, like, I'll believe it when I see it. All talk, no action, all those things. I get it. I understand, totally understand. I relate. Don't do it. Don't do it. It would be terrible for you to give up now. This is that moment that I would always talk about when I would trust God for something in my life. And every time when breakthrough is around the corner, it's right there. That's when most people give up. They give up just before breakthrough happens. That is the moment at the moment that you want to give up and you want to say those famous words. I'll say the clean version. You say, screw it. Okay. And you give up. And that's where the devil has you. But instead, you got to dig your heels in, say, no, I'm not giving up. I'm going forward. Even though that most people don't believe me and it pains me and it hurts, I'm not giving up because I'm trusting this. And when I say this, I mean your faith in something higher, as in God. And that's when breakthrough happens. This is why I have never, ever, ever given up. I will never give up in front of anybody, even if I don't have an audience. I am not giving up. I don't roll like that anymore these days. Okay? My faith is everything to me, absolutely everything to me. And to see what is happening in this world right now of people picking up a Bible, going to church, turning to God because of the execution of Charlie Kirk. And now we get the indictments and everything else. The devil's pissed. Demons are just fuming. They're going insane. They're going crazy. This is the best part. Hold the line. Dig your heels in. Trust God. Trust the plan. Trust the man you voted for in office. And remember, stay united. Where we go one, we go all. God bless you guys. I got to get to work. Talk to you later.